So, Rise of Skywalker. That's a movie. Yeah, it's a movie. It's pretty awful. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna talk about it because it's terrible. Um, and I saw it last night, and it's now like 2 o'clock the next day, and I can't remember what happened. Um, so yeah, this could be really vague and short. Who knows? Um, so we start. Oh yeah, it is spoilers. A lot of spoilers. I'm just gonna go through what happens, and I'm gonna talk about how bad it is, and occasionally how good it is. So how does it even start? It's Poe and Ray, not Poe and Ray, Poe and Finn. They're like driving around. They're looking for a spy. And oh my god! All right, that's not a movie. All right, so it starts with Kylo Ren for like 5 minutes. He's going and he's looking for Palpatine. Um and she's just alive, and he has this giant army for no reason. And it's really stupid. Yeah. So he finds it, and he says some quote from like Empire, and then they go to Poe and Finn, and they're looking for a spy, a part of the First Order slash Sith, because now they got all these people. Like before, when we left off in Last Jedi, they were like destroyed. Now suddenly, once Palpatine came back, they got they got all these old like fleets for no reason except the plot needs to move. So yeah, um, and they're looking for a spy who has like some sort of plans. I don't. It wasn't really clarified, and I wasn't really paying attention because I was already bored. Um, yeah, and they get like destroyed in the Falcon, and the Falcon's on like fire and whatever. And then we go to Ray, and she's like meditating or something, but she's in the sky because she's a woman, and she needs to be powerful. And they're on this I don't think they said what planet it was, but it was like a grass planet. It was like what's the name? The one with the Ewoks. It wasn't. I don't think it was that one though, because there was no Ewoks, and they would have had them. But it was very similar. It was like a jungle planet, which is where they have like their base of operations. Um, and so they all get back. Ray, Finn, Poe, all that. They all get back, and then Jesus Christ. um, um, yeah. So they're all there, and they find out Palpatine is he's alive for no reason. Um, and they're like, well, what do we do now? And they're gonna go. And Ray's reading a book or something from Luke, and they talk about some sort of thing. I don't even know. I don't know what. I don't even know. I only saw this movie once. I heard it definitely is a lot easier to understand what's going on. With a second viewing, but I only saw it once. Uh, yeah, yeah. So they're looking for this thing. Which is supposed to like help them find him so they can kill him. Uh, so yeah, and they're like, all right, let's go. And it's well, yeah. They went to it was Chewie, BB-8, 3PO, Finn, Ray, and Poe. Went in the Falcon, and they went to some sand planet that wasn't Tatooine. I don't think it was Tatooine. It might have been. I don't know. I don't. They don't explain anything in this movie. I don't understand. Um. So they get there, and there's some sort of like party and whatever. That happens like every 40 years or something stupid. And some little creature comes up to Ray, and they start talking, and she's like, "What's your family name?" And then she gets all emotional, and it's like, "Why?" It was so unneeded. We get it. She don't have a family. Who cares? Like, this shouldn't be as big of a plot point as it is. And if if they wanted to, it's a terrible execution of what they want to do. Um, yeah. And then they find Lando, and he's just chilling in like an RV. And he's like, "Yo," but apparently, Kylo's trying to kill them all, or whatever he's trying to do. So him and the Knights of Ren, they're there, and they're looking for him in the party, and they're like causing havoc. Um, yeah, and then Lando's like, "Get out of my RV, dog," and yeah, and then they get like, I don't know, they go into the ship, and then Rey just like stops somewhere, and just starts looking around, and everyone's like, "What's she doing?" And because they're all at the ship, ready to go. Yeah. This movie is it's awful. Um, um, so yeah, Rey's looking around, and Finn and Poe are like, "Chewbacca, go over there, get Rey," and he's like, "All right." And then the Knights of Ren just pick him up, and they capture him, and they put him on the ship, and Rey's like, "Oh God, it's the big guy," and she takes the ship with her force powers, um, and she just holds it in place, which is really weird. I didn't think she could do that. Um, I guess it makes sense. Unlike most of the things she does in this movie. Um, but then Kylo shows up, and he's trying to pull it up. So he's like trying to push it up. She's trying to pull it down, and they end up blowing it up. And everyone's like, "Oh no, Chewie's dead." And they leave, and then the next scene is Chewie's not dead. So I don't know why they would do that. Why they would be like, "Hey, we killed him. Just joking. He's alive." It didn't make any sense at all. I mean, it would if, you waited like 10, 15 minutes to reveal he was dead. Or he was alive. I'm sorry. That he was like, yeah. He was with the Knights of Ren the whole time. He was on some other ship, which is stupid. Because there was one ship, and then he's alive on another one. It's just really dumb. Yeah. And he's like, I don't know, he's a prisoner. So, and then they're like, "Shucks, we gotta get our boy back," and then they go to some snow planet that Poe used to go to or whatever. And there's some really unneeded woman who doesn't show her face. Um, who apparently her and Poe had something going on. I don't know. Um, Jesus Christ. What even happened? Yeah, so there's a snow planet, and on a snow planet, and this girl's like, "All right, oh, they found the thing that they were looking for it was on the sand planet. It was a knife, and it had Sith words on it, and they had to translate it. So they had to translate it, and C-3PO could translate it, but because he was like a rebel, or a Jedi like robot or whatever, they wouldn't, like, his circus wouldn't let him, so they had to reset him. Yeah. So basically, C-3PO just dies. So he's able to, translate the Sith writing. And then yeah, he was hilarious, by the way. Like, this is probably the best C-3PO I've ever seen in Star Wars. Definitely up there with Empire. I probably liked this version of him more. He was kind of hysterical. And then he died like 30 minutes in, and you're like, well, the one good thing this movie had going for it is gone. Yeah. And they meet some weird little robot who I feel like has some sort of relevance at the end of the movie. I don't remember what it was. It was that one that like really pushing in the promo. He's like green and white and small. And he's just running around with BB-8 like they're playing. I don't know. It was stupid. And then there was like my favorite character was the little dude who did all the repairs, because the girl brought him to the repair shop. That this dude, yeah, he was pretty great. I forgot his name. It was yeah, yeah. And then all of a sudden, the Sith come, or the First Order. I don't know what to call them, because it's both of them. It's the Sith because of Palpatine, and all of his, like, I don't even did he give them more stormtroopers, or was it just the ships? I would think it'd be more stormtroopers, and just more men. I don't know, honestly. Oh my god, this has been 10 minutes, dude. This is gonna be an awful video. Oh my god, I don't know who's gonna watch this. Um, yeah. So they're like, well, we gotta get out of here, but then they can't get out. And then Rey hops up there, and they get Chewie. Um, well, yeah, I'm so bad at explaining this. I'm so sorry. Just go watch the movie. I don't know why you would want to watch this video. It's awful. Um, so they go onto the ship and they split up. So Rey is going to find something. Oh, yeah, they got the knife, which was the Sith translating thing. They had to translate was the knife. Um, Kylo got it somehow, and he went to Rey went to Kylo's room. Well, he wasn't there. That he was on the ground looking for them. Well, they were in the ship. And she couldn't find it, and they had this crazy force fight, which I actually thought was pretty cool. I've heard a lot of people say it was stupid, but I liked it. And at the same time, Poe and Finn find Chewie, free him, and then they get themselves almost executed until Hux comes in and he just starts shooting everyone, all the stormtroopers, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's the spy," and that was the dumbest thing I think I've ever seen in Star Wars. Just the execution was awful, and the Last Jedi just killed his character. Like in Force Awakens, he was like Space Hitler, and he was kind of awesome. And we were waiting for something cool to happen with him in the rest of the trilogy, and then Ryan Johnson got his hands on him and just threw him around. So where in 9, he made him so unthreatening that he was like, yeah, he's a spy. And he helps them out, leave the station. Rey gets out there. I don't remember. I think they got the knife. They did. Yeah, they got the knife, and Chewie, and they skedaddled out there. Dude, the noises I'm making. I gotta edit some of this out. Yeah. So they get out of there. And Hux, it's stupid. His reasoning behind being the spy, being the traitor, was because he doesn't like Kylo Ren and he can't win, which was the dumbest thing ever. It was like 5th grade. It was just stupid. It was really stupid. And then, yeah, they kill Hux because they're like, yeah, this guy was the spy. And this new dude, who is probably what Hux was supposed to be originally, who is pretty insane, pretty awesome. He just shoots him. Yeah, he's like, because yeah, he just shoots him, and Hux is dead now. Which is probably for the best. He probably should have just died in Last Jedi. Kylo probably should have just murdered him, because there's just no need for him. Yeah, so they leave, and I believe this is where it all gets really fuzzy for me. They go to like a water planet, I think. This is where things just got really confusing, really messy. The first 45 to 50 minutes was really bad, but it was enjoyably bad. And it just made no sense. Also, I want to say that the Knights of Ren, who Star Wars has been promoting for 5 years, and they've been talking about how awesome the Knights of Ren are, and how they're just gonna come through and kill everybody. They didn't do anything in this movie. And that's probably the most upsetting thing about this movie. One of the most disappointing things. Like, really? You had these hyped up characters that, I mean, I think on paper sounded great and with the right execution could have been awesome. But, yeah, it was awful. They didn't do anything. Just like this movie. Didn't do anything. Any of the source. I've said, like, awful, bad, a lot in this video. So they go to this water planet, and they find these like people, who are all like stormtroopers. Maybe they were stormtroopers, and they have this weird bonding moment, with Finn. I don't even this could all be wrong. I don't remember how they got from the ship to the water planet, but they did, and they were there for a while. I think they got there. It was the knife brought them there. That's where they needed to go with the knife, because that's where the Death Star is. It wasn't Palpatine. Was it? Jesus, this movie. All right. If you don't know already, this movie is so hard to follow and just to watch. Like, it hurts. It hurt my head. I'm definitely gonna have to watch this like 3 or more times. I'll probably watch it again, but I don't know if I'll watch it after that because it's so unenjoyable. You know, I think I would rather watch Last Jedi, which is really disappointing because that was another movie that really disappointed me. So we get to this water planet, and they go to the Death Star. Rey goes, she sneaks out there. They were gonna go in like the morning because it was like raining or something stupid. But Rey's like, nah, and she sneaks off, and she goes. And she's like running around, and she finds something. I don't remember. I'm going to be honest. I do not remember. But the knife brought her there, and then Kylo shows up. And they have this insane fight through. It's very, I think the best way to describe it is a really watered down, no pun intended, a really watered down version of the Obi-Wan and Anakin fight in Revenge of the Sith at the end with like the lava and the fire. But it's water, and it's nowhere near as good. The fight itself isn't. And they fight for a while, and basically, Leia kills herself at the grass planet, the jungle planet. She just like kills herself or something. She like lays down and she just dies. And Kylo like feels that in the Force. And he's like, oh god, as the middle of their fighting, and Rey just like stabs, like he shanks him with a lightsaber, and he like just falls down. And then she's like, oh my god, Leia killed herself. And he's just sitting there, and he didn't die. He was alive. But like he would have died very, very quickly behind that. That stabbing, like it was definitely a fatal stabbing. So yeah, they're on the ruins of the Death Star. And yeah, Kylo was stabbed. Rey is just standing there like, oh my god. And then Rey heals her. Rey heals Kylo like Jesus, because I didn't know Rey could do that. But yeah, Star Wars, Rey, the prodigy. So Rey heals him, and he's like, well, Rey's like, yeah, I'm gonna leave now, and then she leaves, and they all go to the jungle planet to be like, yeah, she's dead now. And Kylo's sitting on the Death Star. Like, what do I do? Both of my parents are dead. Like the Sith / Fallen Order. Fallen Order? Fallen Order. That's a game. The First Order. The First Order just, the First Order is, it's kind of a mess. Palpatine's a maniac. He's like a cult leader now. and he's like 700 years old. Nobody knows how he came to life again, but he just did. So basically, and he's there. And then all of a sudden, Han Solo comes, like actual Han Solo, and I don't know if this is like a Force ghost or what, or if it's just like in his head. And it's actually Harrison Ford, which is really surprising, because I definitely wouldn't think he would come back to this, but he did. And basically, they have like a whole conversation about what he needs to do, and then they have the same conversation they had in Episode 7 right before Ben stabbed him. Kylo stabbed him. And he's like, I don't know if I have the strength to do it. And then he turns around, throws his lightsaber off the Death Star into the water. And then he turns back around, and Han Solo is gone. And he's like, wow, resistance, baby. So yeah, that happened. And that was really, I thought, that could have been so much greater. Well, let me stop myself. Because the scene with Han and Kylo is the best in the movie, by far. What is his name? Adam Driver is an amazing actor. So is Harrison Ford. I think together they worked really well. Yeah, it was fantastic. I don't really know how to describe it, but it was great. Yeah. So, but I think the turn, we should have him becoming a shunning away the dark side and coming back to the light side probably should have been better. And we should have felt it. No, I just didn't feel it, and I don't think anybody else really felt like, oh my god, he's good now. And that was really disappointing, because I think that could have been great. Especially, when we go back to right after The Force Awakens came out, and all these like my own theories and all that. Even how old? I was like 10 years old. 11, 12 when Force Awakens came out. And it's just, I don't know. There could have been so much more potential. I could have wrote probably when I was 12 a better script and a better layout of the rest of the trilogy than what actually came out, because I think J.J. Abrams definitely should have just directed the whole thing, or Rian Johnson. You should have just picked one. Personally, I would have given it to J.J. just because he seems like he enjoys the films more, and he knows more about Star Wars, and I think is probably the better filmmaker of the two. But there was just no plan. I think they didn't map anything out. So after Force Awakens, Rian Johnson had nothing to go off of but what he wanted, and he made Last Jedi. And then JJ was left with the scraps, but there was there's no way that after The Force Awakens came out, or before The Force Awakens came out even, that Abrams would have been like, yeah, I think we should end it with Palpatine. I think that just happened. It just came to happen. And that's just sad, because I think you look back at all of Star Wars, and it seems very planned, and I don't know, but it's just really disappointing. And this is where the movie gets insane. So basically, it's like we're like an hour and a half in, and they're gonna make their endgame moment now. So they have all the Resistance people and all the Sith / First Order guys, and they just have this crazy fight. But basically, like Endgame, this whole last 45 minutes is really Endgame. Copycat. I don't know if it is though. It definitely seems like it. It probably is, because when you, the time, because this definitely wasn't planned out. Like something like Endgame was. So it probably was being written at the same time that Endgame was coming out to the people. So yeah, basically the Resistance have nobody, and they make this call to help. All right, well let me stop myself because Palpatine basically, I think what it was the final call. It was something final something. Where basically he said you can surrender or you can die. To everyone in the universe. He had his whole army. And the Resistance put out a call of their own, like, we're here, and we're gonna fight, and you gotta fight with us. And then basically it looks like no one's coming. And it's the Resistance is just dying, like they're getting slaughtered. It's all in space, by the way. It's like it's like the end of like Return of the Jedi and New Hope. It's all the whole last like hour is in space, basically. And it's just everyone's in their ships and all that. So yeah, they're getting killed. And Poe is the leader now. By the way, Poe is awful. I hate Poe. He is such a douchebag. He's a dick. Like they really tried to make him the new Han Solo, and they really failed. They fell flat on their face because I hate him. And I love Han Solo. He's one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars. And they failed so badly. And he's so unlikable. And he makes terrible jokes. And like the sarcasm, like the witty humor that someone like Han Solo had, they really try to replicate it, and they just don't do a good job at all. And it's no discredit to Oscar Isaac, who's a great actor. I really like him. The writing for Poe is awful. He's a terrible character, and even Finn wrapped up like everything he needed to in Force Awakens. So then they gave him a terrible, like a side plot in Last Jedi, with Rose. She's in here for like a minute, and I hate Rose. Rose is awful. And I'm happy about that because I do not like Rose. One of the worst Star Wars characters in my opinion. So, yeah. She's like a Resistance like helper now. I thought she died, by the way. I did not rewatch these movies before. I watched the original trilogy before this, probably a few weeks ago. I did not watch the sequel trilogy in anticipation of Rise of Skywalker. Then it definitely shows, because when I saw Rose, I was like, I thought she died, and I was like, it must be her sister. But then I was like, her sister definitely died in the beginning of the movie. That's why they had the whole thing with Finn. Yeah, she's alive. I really thought she would have died, but she didn't. And she I'm pretty sure she lived the entire movie. I don't know how J.J. Abrams did not just kill her off. She was like a pilot or something. He dies. Maybe gives Finn some sort of weird motivation. I don't know why. I would be like, thank God, because it doesn't seem like Finn likes her at all, even on a friend level in this movie. It's weird. All right, so they're. I'm sorry. They're in space. They're fighting. They're getting slaughtered. And then Poe's like, I'm sorry, I lost. And then just like Falcon and Cap, in Endgame, Lando's like, you haven't lost yet. And then Poe turns around, and it's like literally every other living being in the world, and all like thousands of ships. And that was, they really tried to get like a big payoff. Like I can't tell you the joy I had when we saw everyone coming out of those portals in Endgame. Like that's probably my favorite scene of all time in any movie. And the rest of that hour in Endgame is like, it's amazing. And like I felt like I can't really describe it. I'm getting that feeling right now just talking about it. But it makes the hair, it gives me goosebumps. Like, it's unbelievable what they did. And they really tried to do that Endgame style payoff in Rise of Skywalker, and they failed miserably. It was awful. Like the movie. Like this review. Like my channel. Yeah. So, and then the Empire is like, oh no. Yeah. And while this is all happening, Rey finally finds Palpatine. Oh yeah, the big reveal of the movie, which was really bad, is that Rey is a Palpatine. She's somehow, Palpatine had, the Emperor had a child. I don't know when, even if that would make sense. I guess, I guess right before he, like, the Jedi fell. So, like, around, probably in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, I would think. Because that would kind of line up with Luke and Leia. And then Leia and Kylo, right? Somewhere in that range. Because he definitely did not have a child while he was the Emperor. There's no way. Yeah, and basically, Palpatine had, once he found out that Rey was born, he went to go, he's like sent people to look for her, and her parents put her on, where was she? It wasn't Tatooine. It was not. It was another sand planet. They're all sand planets, and I hate sand, and I hate sand planets. Just like I hate this movie, and I hate my life. Please end me. This isn't funny. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. She's a Palpatine basically, and oh my god, this is 30 minutes long. I gotta cut this down. Basically, she, like, Emperor Palpatine is, like, sitting in his, like, cult room. It's crazy, dude. Like, I don't know if I love this or if I hate this, because wherever he was, I don't know where he was exactly, but it was like a giant, it's basically like what the Senate was in the prequels, but it was like all these hooded masked people, and there was like big, like, it was a cult. It was absolutely a cult. And it was super dark, and it was like brick and dirt, and it was the craziest. It was kind of amazing, and it was kind of terrifying. I don't know if I liked it or not, though, honestly. That really sat weird with me. Yeah. So, Emperor Palpatine and Rey, he's on his throne, and she's talking to him in front of, like, millions. Probably not millions, but, like, hundreds of thousands of people. These hooded cult fellas. And he's basically like, if you kill me with your hatred, I will literally, like, go into your body. Like, it's a cult. Like, basically, if Rey killed the Emperor, then he goes into her body. Like, I don't even with the Force, but I thought the Force was for good people. It's really weird and convoluted. So, yeah, and she's kind of like, all right, and then all of a sudden Kylo shows up, and everyone's like, oh, the Chancellor's like, okay, and then all of a sudden he pulls out a blue lightsaber. Well, okay, let me. I did miss the part where Kylo Ren killed all of the Knights of Ren, and we barely got to see any of it. I mean, we saw a little bit of it, and it was a really terrible fight, in my opinion. And I just feel like the Knights of Ren were so misused. I would love a Disney Plus series, even what they're doing with, like, the Mandalorian, and what they'll hopefully do with Obi-Wan. I think would be awesome for this. but they didn't. They massacred what could have been an amazing like team of people. I guess I don't know. The Knights of Ren could have been awesome, but they weren't. So Kylo Ren kills them all, and then gets up to this like weird cult palace, and they start. And then Palpatine's like, I don't care, and he just starts like doing the same thing with Luke that he did with Luke, with the lightning, the electricity or whatever, thunder. Light isn't lightning. I don't know what you would call it. So, but he like lifts them in the air and is gonna like hang them basically. And he takes, like, it was like a Dragon Ball move, It was really, he literally takes their energy, like the androids do in Dragon Ball. And it's so weird. And then Kylo gets up, and basically Palpatine just throws him like into a ditch. And that's like the third time he dies in it. Kylo Ren dies like 7 times. And spoiler alert, only one of them are real. So Rey's just there, and then honestly a pretty cool like scene. She's trying to get up and she can't. And it's like all of these Jedi from everything Star Wars. Like you had Samuel L. Jackson as Mace Windu was talking, Qui-Gon Jinn, both Obi-Wans, Anakin, even like the one guy from Rebels. I haven't seen Rebels, but the Jedi in that who died, and Ahsoka, which I thought was awesome because I love the Clone Wars and Ahsoka. Dude, they need to make a Disney Plus show about Ahsoka. That would be so cool. I would watch that all day. I love Ahsoka, and we got to hear her here, which is, by the way, her first ever live action appearance, which is awesome. And then Luke is finally like, what did he say? He said something pretty cool, pretty dope. I don't remember what it was exactly. It's very quotable. Everyone's like, it's like all the weird people's Instagram captions. Yeah. And then Rey gets up, and she like puts her lightsaber up, and she's like deflecting Palpatine's lightning back at him, and he's kind of like, okay. And then all of a sudden she grabs Kylo's and makes like an X, like a Black Panther, like, except without his hands. It's the lightsabers, and he's kind of like, you can't see this, which makes it even weirder. And he's like, it's like the same thing that happened in Jedi, and you're like, why would you? I don't know why they like he is kind of retarded. Palpatine, because he just did the same. Like he didn't stop, and he was like, let me wait a minute, and he just died. Because all the electricity came back at him. Lightning, whatever it is. Those bolts, they killed him basically. And they and at the same time, basically, the rest of the Resistance and everyone else in the galaxy just slaughtered the Sith and the First Order. And so at the same time, the building is like falling to rubble. All these people are dying. Like the caped cult people are dying. And now Rey's got to get out of there. And she finds Kylo. Basically. No. So yeah, Rey killed Palpatine. I think she did. Palpatine's dead. I think. Unless there's another really bad retcon, like they did in this movie. But for now, he's dead. And And then Kylo gets up after being dead for like the 8th time. And he's like, "Oh, look at this, Rey." And he like gives her all his energy. I didn't know you could like lend energy in Star Wars, but I guess you can, because plot convenience. Oh my God, it's a 40-minute video. Jesus. Yeah, plot convenience. And they kind of just stand there and they hug, or they're like sitting on the floor and they're hugging, and they kiss. And I wanted to kill myself. That was probably, I think that's when I realized that there was just no hope. You know? Like, this trilogy had no hope. They kissed. And it was so awkward, too. Like, it was so weird. And then Kylo died. Yeah, like, for real this time, because he gave all of his energy to Rey. Yeah. So that was crazy. Yeah. Kylo actually died, and it was so terrible. Like, it was not. I loved Kylo Ren throughout the trilogy. I want to say throughout the trilogy, but in even Last Jedi, I really liked Kylo. He wasn't written very good in Last Jedi. I really liked him in Force Awakens. I thought he was great, and he's honestly one of my favorite Star Wars characters. And this movie just did not do him kind. Besides the scene with Han Solo, I don't know. His fight scenes were cool, I guess. The Knights Around were a disaster. His helmet was actually really cool. He like glued it back together. And it was really, he barely wore it though. I feel like it got destroyed in like the first like 35 or 40 minutes of the movie. And I thought this death, because I was pretty sure he was gonna die in this movie. I thought him and Rey would both die in this movie. But no, Rey survived somehow. I guess because, you know, the female thing. All right, I'm back. I don't know where I left off. I think it was the Kylo kiss. And he died. Yeah. So Kylo died. And Rey went back and had like a similar scene to the end of Return of the Jedi. Where they like pan to like some of the, you know, the planets that they've been to throughout the trilogy, celebrating, and then they're all celebrating on that jungle planet. Yeah. And then basically the last scene of the movie is Rey goes back to Tatooine to bury Leia's lightsaber. Oh, by the way, Luke uses Leia's, not Luke, Rey used Leia's lightsaber a majority of the movie. Because Luke came back as a Force ghost. I don't think I ever said that. Because I just remembered it now. I don't remember what part of the movie it was in. But it happened. And he gave her the lightsaber. Oh! Okay, I remember. They were on wherever the planet that Luke was on last time when he started the movie. And Rey was trained. And Rey went there and she was like, you know, I'm not, because it was right after Leia died. She was like, I'm just gonna stay here like you did. And then Luke was like, you stupid. Go and kill some Nazis. And gave her Leia's lightsaber that she used to train. So that was actually a pretty cool scene. I like that. There was a lot of shots at Ryan. What is his name? It's Ryan Johnson. Yeah. Ryan Johnson in this one particular scene specifically. Throughout this whole movie though, JJ and Ryan are clearly beefing. So the last scene, she goes back to Tatooine and she buries the lightsabers, and as she's leaving, someone is like riding some sort of animal or something, And she's like an old lady. She's like, "Who are you?" And Rey's like, "Rey." And she's like, "Rey who?" And Rey's like, "Hmm." And as she looks over, and there's Leia and Luke as Force ghosts, and she's like, "Skywalker." And then the movie ends. Yeah, that was Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker. When I made this 45 minutes ago, I said I'm just gonna talk about this movie, and I talked about it a lot, a little too much. I don't think anyone's watching past this point. I'm not even gonna rewatch this movie. I'm not gonna rewatch this video to make sure it's good. I'm not even gonna edit out any of the parts I said I was gonna edit out while making it, because this is 50 minutes long. I don't have that kind of time. I already don't have this kind of time, and I made it. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker is awful. It is. I wouldn't say it's an embarrassment, but it makes no sense. It adds nothing to the universe. It takes away from the original trilogy, I would say. Honestly, this movie is not good. If I was to give it a overall rating, I would say, well, it's a Star Wars movie, so that's a 1. It's Christmas time. I like Christmas. That's a 2. Han Solo comes back. That's a 3. It's over. It's finally. This trilogy is over. This trilogy was awful. That's a 4. And we got Ahsoka back. That's a 5. 5 out of 10. 4 out of 10? I may take the Christmas one back. It's not Christmas anymore. I'm going to give it a 4.5 to a 5 out of 10. This movie's bad. You can watch it if you're a Star Wars fan. If you don't care, watch this video. You will save an hour and a half of your time, but your sanity is already gone. I can't help you. You should subscribe because it's cool. My channel is cool as ice. Yeah. I'm out. Yeah.